She shared her secret with a stranger, discovering an unexpected love with her millionaire boss. The café hummed with the clinking of cups and the soft laughter of patrons, while Claire wiped down tables with a weary smile. At 32, she was the embodiment of resilience, juggling her role as a single mother and a waitress with the grace of a performer in a one-woman show. But beneath that smile lay a tangle of frustrations, the weight of expectations, the longing for a future for her 6-year-old daughter, Lily. Each day, she served plates of hope disguised as breakfast specials, as she watched customers sail through life wrapped in a cocoon of privilege. Just that morning, she had watched a woman in a designer coat, sipping a pumpkin spice latte, declaration of contentment radiating from her perfect smile. Claire's chest tightened. She wished for just a slice of that ease. That S when she bumped into him. Tom sat in the corner, a laptop before him, his disarming smile a beacon in the chaos. "I'm so sorry," Claire blurted, her words tumbling out faster than her heart was racing. There was something about his eyes warm and inviting, sparking an unexpected connection. As she wiped the table, Claire found herself pouring out secrets. "Some days, I feel like a robot, waking up, running to get Lily to school, and then it's back to serving tables here. I keep dreaming about a better life, but it feels like a movie I can never be in." She hardly recognized her own voice, grounded in vulnerability she had tucked away for so long. Tom looked at her with understanding, a rare glimmer that made Claire's heart skip. "I grew up working hard for everything, too," he said. "It took years to build what I have now. And you know what? Sometimes, it feels just as lonely at the top." Their conversation danced around stories of family loyalty and struggles, a slow revelation breaking between them. The café faded into a blur, the laughter dimming as they steered deeper into shared truths. It was exhilarating and terrifying all at once. But her feelings posed a question: was it worth the risk of falling for someone like him? "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue, but as days turned into weeks, Claire grappled with her growing attraction to Tom. She loved the way he lit up her mundane world, yet anxiety gnawed at her. Conversations with colleagues simmered with judgment, whispers questioning the barriers of her working-class life colliding with his affluence. Every glance felt like a heavy weight on her shoulders, throbbing with concern for the respect she had fought to earn. Then came the gut-wrenching revelation. News broke that Tom's company was spearheading a gentrification project in her neighborhood, a place she fiercely called home. Her heart sank. How could she reconcile her feelings for him with her loyalty to her community? Standing at the edge of a colossal moral dilemma, Claire felt trapped. If she defended her neighborhood, would it mean forfeiting the budding romance that sparked hope within her? The pressure curled like a fist around her heart. She had never felt more alone. As Claire prepared for a confrontation, the café door swung open, a gust of winter chills sweeping through and stirring hope that felt too fragile. She inhaled deeply, her voice trembling on the edge of revelation, every question flooding her mind. Which path would she choose? Would love break her down or bridge the gap between them? The next morning, Claire arrived at the café earlier than usual. The air felt charged, thick with the weight of anticipation and dread. As she meticulously arranged the tables, her mind wandered back to Tom. His laughter rang in her ears like a sweet song, but it clashed with the heaviness in her heart. Could she truly build something meaningful with him when the very foundation of her world seemed to be crumbling? Just before the doors opened, Claire caught sight of her reflection in the café's glass. Her eyes were tired, shadows lingering beneath them like stubborn clouds. She sighed, forcing her lips into a smile as she greeted the regulars who trickled in. But each familiar face felt like a reminder of the life she was desperate to protect and the potential love she was terrified to explore. The bell above the door chimed, announcing Tom's arrival. He walked in as if he carried sunlight, his smile lighting up the space. "Morning," he called, and her heart flitted at the sound of his voice. "Ready to take on another day?" "Sure," she replied, trying to sound casual, though her stomach twisted with anxiety. He walked to the counter, pulling out his laptop just as he had before, yet this time, it felt different. The weight of their last conversation lingered. The gentrification project loomed in her mind like a storm cloud. "Everything all right?" Tom asked, noticing her tight smile. "Yeah, just busy, you know." The words tasted bitter. She turned to the register, knowing she couldn't hide her feelings behind forced pleasantries. As the rush of morning customers filled the room, Claire managed to navigate between taking orders and filling coffee cups. But her mind was elsewhere, torn between the man who made her heart race and the responsibility she felt toward her community. The farther they drifted into their conversations, the closer he seemed to move into her heart. But the thought of him contributing to the destruction of her neighborhood made her heart feel like a wrecking ball swinging back and forth. During a lull, she caught a break and slid into the seat across from him. "Can we talk?" she ventured, her voice barely above a whisper. Tom looked surprised but nodded, pushing his laptop aside. "Of course. What's on your mind?" There was genuine concern etched across his features. Claire drew in a shaky breath. The coffee shop buzzed around them, but she felt as if they were encased in a bubble. "You know about the project your company is handling down my way, right?" His smile faded, replaced by a look of apprehension. "Yeah, I've read the plans. It's for revitalization, but I know it can cause problems. This isn't just about property management for me," she replied, feeling her heart begin to race as she spilled her fears. "These houses are home to people like me, families who have lived there for generations. And now, it feels like everything we've built is about to be erased. What you're doing will change lives." Tom leaned back, eyes flickering with a mix of understanding and regret. "I never intended for it to hurt anyone, Claire. We tried. I didn't see it that way. I know you don't. But it's hard for me to sit here and pretend that what's happening doesn't hurt. Loving you is feeling like loving something that's about to destroy everything I care about." There was silence, a tension so thick it threatened to choke them both. Tom's gaze dropped before he spoke again, his voice low. "I didn't know. But I want to understand. How do we bridge this gap?" Claire's breath caught. Did he really mean it? The stirring of hope mingled with fear as she took in the kindness in his eyes. Their connection couldn't be severed so easily, but could it withstand this kind of turmoil? A warmth bloomed in her chest, a flicker of a possible union birthed in conflict. Yet, as they sat there, the air heavy with unspoken words, she couldn't shake the nagging thought, was there a road forward? Just then, Lily's voice rang through her mind, innocent and pure, reminding Claire of what was truly at stake. Would following her heart mean abandoning her home? "Maybe we start by listening," Tom suggested quietly, pulling her from her thoughts. "I think we can find solutions. Together." But the question remained, was love worth the potential heartache? With uncertainty swirling between them, Claire felt her resolve waver. And as she glanced out of the window, the world outside felt on the brink of change, just like her life, ready to tip towards either light or shadow. In that moment, she was left wondering, could their love thrive amidst such a great divide, or would their differing worlds tear them apart? Claire felt the weight of Tom's words pressing in on her. Listening. It sounded simple, but it felt monumental. When was the last time she felt truly heard? The thought brought forth a swell of emotions, tightly wrapped around her chest, squeezing until she could barely breathe. The café, once a haven, now mirrored a battleground where hearts clashed. Together, she echoed softly, testing the weight of the word. What did that even look like? She pictured the vibrant community she loved, children laughing, neighbors chatting, murals telling stories rich with history. All at risk while she sat with Tom, trying to bridge a gap that felt more like a canyon. "I want to help," Tom said, his voice steady yet filled with urgency. "Let us talk to the people affected. See what they really need." His proposition caught her off guard. "You're serious?" The surprise escaped her lips before she could catch it. "This isn't a boardroom meeting, we're talking about real people with real stakes." "Exactly," he replied, leaning forward, his eyes brightening. "It'll be a chance for me to understand. I can't change things if I don't know the impact." Claire nodded slowly, the flicker of hope igniting once more. Maybe this was the moment they both needed. Could they become allies instead of adversaries? The thought sent a shiver down her spine, a mix of excitement and anxiety swirling within her, but then, just as quickly as the hope bloomed, doubt seeped back in. "What if this doesn't work out?" she asked, the familiar tightness returning. "If we face the community together and it all falls apart, you could still walk away. You have that choice." Tom's expression softened, and a crease formed between his brows. "And what about you? You're not just the owner of a café. You're part of that community. You don't get to choose to walk away." His words landed heavily in the air, sparking a brief silence between them. Claire felt the truth pulse between them like a steady heartbeat. Before she could respond, the door swung open, interrupting their moment. It was another regular, Mr. Thompson, who rushed in with his usual morning energy. "Good morning, Claire." "Good morning, Tom," he called out as he shuffled past them. Grinning, Tom lifted his coffee cup. "Morning. Just planning our community outreach program here." "Outreach? What are you two up to?" Mr. Thompson's eyebrows shot up, curiosity lighting up his face. "Just brainstorming," Claire replied, exchanging a quick glance with Tom that felt electric. When Mr. Thompson moved to the counter, Claire's heart raced. This conversation was not just theirs anymore. It felt larger than life, it felt urgent. The moment settled back to them as the hum of the cafe enveloped them again. "We'll talk to people," Claire stated, firming her resolve. "Together. We have to be honest with everyone, including ourselves." Tom nodded in agreement, the weight of her words grounding them both. Their conversation shifted gears as they began to hammer out details. Ideas flowed between them: community meetings, outreach programs, even a little coffee shop event to bring people together. They leaned into each other's strengths, ideas sparking like fireworks in the night sky, drowning out their earlier doubts. But as the sun began to rise higher, illuminating the cafe with golden light, Claire felt an unsettling ache gnawing at her. The more she leaned into this partnership, the deeper she fell for Tom. Was it wise to mix love with this layered mess? When the day began to wind down and the last customers shuffled out, Claire caught Tom's eye, her pulse quickening. What if she paused, emotions wrestling within her? What if my heart is pulled into this deeper than I'm ready for? "Then you follow it," he said softly, reaching across the table to take her hand in his. The simple touch sent warmth surging through her, banishing the chill of fear for a moment. "But you have to be honest with yourself, Claire." As she gazed into his eyes, she could sense the magnetism of their connection, a blend of passion and trepidation. The walls around her heart were starting to crack. But could she risk everything? Claire stole a glance earlier in the cafe, now nearly empty, her mind racing. This was only the beginning, yet it felt so vast. Could she truly fortify both her heart and home without losing herself? As uncertainty hung heavy between them like a thick fog, she whispered, "What happens if we fail?" Tom's grip tightened on her hand. "Then we learn. Together." But somewhere deep inside, Claire felt a lurking fear. Would together be enough for them to weather the storms ahead? The cafe was quiet now, the only sound the gentle clinking of dishes as Claire began to clean up. A sense of determination swirled within her, but so did the uncertainty. She caught Tom's gaze, still holding on to her hand, and the warmth resided long after he released it. "Do you really think we can make a difference?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Tom leaned back, contemplating. "I believe we can, but it will take both of us to be committed. And it needs to be genuine." Every word he spoke felt like a promise, but it also felt like a challenge. Claire picked up a damp cloth, wiping down the counter with a methodical rhythm. Her thoughts raced. Could they really bridge the divide that lay between her community and Tom's world? Honesty, right? She muttered to herself, the tension brewing in her stomach. The honesty they intended to share with the community also demanded honesty with themselves. "What are you talking about?" Tom asked, curiosity lacing his voice as he noticed her furrowed brow. Claire hesitated. The secrecy she had kept for so long burned in her throat. I have been struggling to keep this café. It's my dream, but it feels like it's slipping away." Tom sat upright, surprise evident on his face. "I had no idea it was that serious. I thought you were doing well." "From the outside, it looks fine," she admitted, her voice cracking. "But the truth is the financial pressure is overwhelming. If I can't turn things around soon, I might have to let it go." "I'm here now," he said, an air of resolve filling his words. "Let us tackle this together, then. I can bring in more people, help generate revenue for your events." Claire felt a flicker of relief, but shadows of skepticism lingered. "And in return, you'll have the community's support for whatever changes you want to make?" Tom held her gaze, his sincerity washing over her like a wave. "If that's the case, we can find a way for it to benefit everyone. I want to do this right." The back and forth built a flickering hope within her once again. Little by little, that hope began to push the walls she had built around her heart aside. As they brainstormed plans for upcoming events, one idea struck Claire more than others: a community festival featuring local artists and businesses. The anticipation bubbled within her, making her smile. That could really bring people together. "Let us make it happen," Tom encouraged, tapping his fingers on the table with excited energy. Though encouraged, Claire couldn't shake the feeling that revealing too much of her heart both in the community and towards Tom might backfire. Her past experiences held her back, but as she looked at Tom, she felt the walls trembling. But just as optimism began to set in, the door burst open again, this time revealing Elena, her best friend and the one person Claire had managed to lean on through all the stormy days. Taking in the scene, Elena's eyes widened, reading the tension and hope all at once. "Hey, are you two plotting world domination?" Elena bantered with her trademark sass, but Claire could see the concern flitting across her friend's face. "Just talking plans for a community event," Claire explained, wiping her hands on her apron. Elena nodded but then placed her hands on her hips, scrutinizing Tom. "Are you sure about this guy? You know how it goes." Claire held her breath, wearing the weight of uncharted territory on her shoulders. Was it wise to mix her heart with those with power and expectations? "Trust me, Elena. He's different," Claire responded, her voice steadier than she felt inside. But lingering doubts twirled like dancers in her mind, spinning her sense of direction. Tom watched the exchange, something unspoken hanging between them, and Claire couldn't help but wonder how far they could go together and at what cost. Would he still be there if the community turned against him? The cafe door swung shut, sealing their moment, but the doubts loomed larger than life. As the sun dipped low, casting long shadows among the tables, Claire felt the pull of the unknown. She had allied herself with Tom. Could that bond truly withstand the trials ahead? With a final glance at Tom, she took a deep breath. "All right. Let us do our best to connect with the community. But I need to be clear on one thing." "What's that?" he asked, anticipation mixing with cautiousness. "If you're with me, then that means you have to be all in." As Claire paused, the weight of her words hung in the air, thick and charged. Would he be ready for every twist that lay ahead? And what would happen when the truth about her struggles and their growing bond began to unravel? Claire stood frozen for a moment, her heart thundering in her chest. She was laying it all on the line, risking everything she had fought for in this café, this dream. She studied Tom's expression, searching for any indication of hesitation. "I'm all in," he finally said, his voice firm and steady. "I promise." Relief washed over Claire, but the nagging doubt still lingered at the edges of her mind. They would need trust, and trust wasn't something she handed out lightly. She felt raw, as if she had stripped away her armor, exposing herself to vulnerability. "Okay, then," she said, attempting to regain her composure. "Let us make this festival a magic moment. We can do it during the first weekend of next month. We'll need vendors, performers," and Elena's sudden interjection interrupted her plans. "And maybe a security detail?" She joked, trying to break the tension that once more began to creep in. But her laughter faded when she noticed the seriousness of Claire's face. "It's more than just a festival," Claire replied softly, her gaze shifting back to Tom. "It's about healing. It's a way to show the community that we can come together, that we care." Tom nodded, understanding her deeper intention. "Then we'll need to involve everyone from the start. We'll host meetings, gather input." As they bounced ideas off each other, Claire felt something shift within her. The café, once a weight on her shoulders, began to feel like a launching pad. She envisioned colorful banners lined along the streets, the scent of fresh pastries wafting through the air, laughter ringing out from the corners. But just as enthusiasm began to swell, Elena's face clouded with concern. "What are you going to do about the bank if those numbers don't improve? They'll want answers soon." That question struck Claire like lightning. She glanced at Tom, who seemed to share her unspoken worry. I haven't thought about that," she admitted, a tremor of panic treading down her spine. "I was too focused on the festival." Tom reached across the table, his hand covering hers. "We can tackle the bank together. We'll get the numbers to improve." "I appreciate it, Tom, but the truth is I'm scared," Claire admitted, her candor making her cheeks flush pink. "If the festival doesn't go well and the bank pulls its support, I don't know what else I'll have left." The atmosphere thickened with emotions, an unspoken bond twisting tighter between them. Tom didn't shy away, instead, he leaned closer, his intent gaze capturing hers. "You won't be alone in this. We'll figure it out together. Let us make this work, for both our sakes." Her heart skipped a beat. There was something undeniably comforting in his promise. Still, a sliver of fear persisted. What if their efforts failed? What if she fell for him and it all ended in heartache? Suddenly, laughter rang out from outside, breaking the tension. Children ran by, ice cream dripping down their hands, and Claire felt a flicker of hope rekindle inside her. Let us invite the kids, and encourage local artists to come. It should be an experience for all ages, she said, a newfound spark igniting within her. Exactly, Tom replied, eyes shining with excitement. We'll build a platform for creativity. They continued brainstorming, each idea sparking another. Hours passed, and before they knew it, night had completely enveloped the café. As they wrapped up their discussions, Claire watched Tom with a feeling she couldn't quite place. It was a mix of admiration, hope, and something warmer that frightened her. She wondered if they were developing something more than just a partnership, a connection that could dismantle the very walls she fought to uphold. Let us get started on gathering a team tomorrow, Tom suggested, breaking her reverie. Sure, Claire said, forcing a smile. But deep down, a question lingered: was she really ready to dive into this unknown territory? As they stood up to leave, the café felt different, charged with possibilities. She glanced back at the now closed door, contemplating the shift in her life. And in that moment of reflection, Claire realized she was standing at a precipice, with the choice to leap into both the community and a budding relationship with Tom. The real challenge lay ahead, and as she stepped outside, she knew they were poised on the brink of something important. Her heart ached with questions about trust and love, but also, a thrilling sense of the journey ahead. Would they find the strength to confront the storm approaching? The fresh air outside wrapped around Claire like a warm embrace as she stepped onto the street, still buzzing with excitement. The stars twinkled above, and the streetlights painted soft halos on the pavement. She took a deep breath, hoping to exhale her lingering doubts with it. "Tomorrow, then?" Tom asked, shaking her from her reverie. "Yeah, tomorrow," she echoed, her voice more hopeful than she felt. "We can make a list of tasks, reach out to locals. I want everyone involved." Tom smiled, and for a moment, they simply stood there, a spark igniting in the air between them. But the looming worry of their financial situation hung like a cloud. Claire clenched her fists, finding comfort in the heat radiating from Tom's hand, which still lingered over hers from earlier. As they walked down the street, a sudden thought hit her. What if we invite local businesses to sponsor the festival? Maybe give them a platform to showcase what they offer. Tom nodded enthusiastically. "That's brilliant. We should build connections, emphasize community support. The more businesses you involve, the more turnout we might see." Claire found her pace quickening, ideas blossoming with each step. "And we can host a few contests: best pie, best performance. It gets everyone engaged." They made their way to a nearby park, a vibrant spot that could host some of the festival's activities. As they arrived, Claire's heart raced. It was so familiar, yet these visions of joy and light made it feel new. She could almost hear the music and laughter already. Then it hit her: what if it all failed? What if they poured their hearts into this festival, and it didn't resonate? The weight of those thoughts threatened to pull her down, and she suddenly stopped. "Claire?" Tom's voice snapped her back to the moment. "What's wrong?" "I'm just worried," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. "What if this doesn't work out? What if the festival isn't enough?" He stepped closer, concern etched across his features. "Claire, you've already put so much heart into this. Even if it doesn't go as planned, you're making an effort to bring people together. That's bigger than success measured in numbers." His words washed over her like a soothing balm, and she felt her heart lift slightly. But the shadow of doubt still loomed, gnawing at her insides. "Still," Claire murmured, "if the bank pulls its support, I don't know how I would keep the cafe afloat. It's everything to me." "Then let us not focus on the what-ifs just now," he urged, his tone growing softer. "Let us plan to bring the community together and tackle one challenge at a time." She felt a surge of gratitude toward Tom. That steadiness in his voice made her feel anchored. The night air thickened with connection and promise, and Claire found herself drawn to him in a way that both thrilled and terrified her. "I appreciate it, I really do," she said, looking up into his eyes. There was a vulnerability between them now, something more than a partnership. She felt the magnetic pull, and suddenly the idea of losing him became a tangible fear. "Let us go," Tom said gently, breaking the air of tension. "We can plan more tomorrow." As they strolled back, an electric energy crackled between them. Each exchanged glance ignited something deeper, emotions that blurred the lines of their partnership. But Claire's heart still danced with uncertainty. Was this the right moment? Would they brave all storms that lay ahead together? The night deepened, and as the cafe came back into view, she realized they were teetering between dreams and reality, forging a path neither had expected. What would happen if she leaned into those feelings? If she allowed herself to trust not just in their plans but also in him? As she climbed the steps to her cafe, armed with hope but still unsure, she knew one thing for certain: this journey could change everything. But was she ready to open that door? Morning light filtered through the window, casting soft shadows across Claire's cafe. The familiar scent of roasted coffee beans and baked pastries enveloped her, grounding her in a world she loved. Yet, the weight of yesterday's uncertainties loomed at the edges of her mind like an uninvited guest. As she wiped down the counter, thoughts of the festival swirled in her head. The possibilities were endless, so why did a knot tighten in her stomach? Her sense of purpose clashed with the fear of failure. Would the community truly rally behind her idea, or would it fizzle out before it ever began? "Hey, good morning." A cheerful voice interrupted her thoughts. It was Mia, her barista and longtime friend, bouncing in through the door with an armful of fresh pastries. "Morning." Claire forced a smile, grateful for the distraction. "Did you get the cinnamon rolls I love?" "Of course. 5 dozen, just like you ordered," Mia said, glancing around. "You seem a little off today. Everything okay?" Claire hesitated, sorting through her feelings. "Just thinking about the festival and everything." Mia leaned against the counter, her eyes sharp with understanding. "You're not giving yourself enough credit. It's a huge step. You're the heartbeat of this place, people trust you." The reassurance warmed Claire. Mia was right, the community relied heavily on the café, and this festival was her chance to strengthen that bond. "I can't shake the feeling that it might not be enough," she confessed, staring at the ground. "What if I let everyone down?" Mia reached across the counter, squeezing Claire's hand. "You won tea. Besides, no one believes in you more than you do. Just take a deep breath. One step at a time, remember?" Nodding, Claire felt a flicker of hope reignite within her. The tasks ahead seemed daunting, but maybe they weren't as insurmountable as they felt. Just then, the bell above the café door jingled, and Claire instinctively turned. To her surprise, it was Tom, looking effortlessly charming in his crisp shirt and jeans. His smile brought with it a certain lightness that made the air feel electric. He approached the counter, excitement in his eyes. "Hey, you!" he greeted with an easy grin. "I was thinking about our festival plans. Do you mind if I join you today?" "Of course not. The more, the merrier," Claire responded, trying to mask the excitement bubbling within her. Tom leaned against the counter, casual yet focused. "What's the first step for today?" "We need to reach out to local businesses for sponsorships," she replied, feeling her confidence build again. "We can strategize together." As they spoke, Claire noticed how seamlessly Tom slipped into the role of her partner, not just in this project, but in the quiet, deeper rhythm of her heart. The way he listened, the way his laughter filled the space between their words, it made her feel alive, but the shadows of doubts crept back at the thought of merging their lives. Could this budding connection withstand the pressures of her café and the complexities of the festival? Just as her mind began to spin, Claire spotted something across the street. A for sale sign hung outside an old building across the way. A vision struck her: what if they took the festival beyond the café? What if they turned this neglected space into a hub for creativity and community? "Tom," Claire began, excitement dancing in her chest as she noticed his eyes widen. "What if we expand the festival? What if we use that space?" The wheels in Tom's head visibly turned. "That's bold. Are you ready to take that step?" Her heart raced at the thought. It could be a game changer, but it also meant darer risks. Together? Claire's voice was a thread of hope and fear intertwined. Would he stand by her side as partners in this leap? Just then, the door swung open again, and a familiar face stepped in, one Claire hadn't expected to see so soon. The café suddenly buzzed with tension. What would happen next? Would this encounter push her to make choices she wasn't yet prepared for? Or could it finally guide her toward the answers she sought? Claire's breath caught in her throat as she recognized the figure at the door. It was Lila, her high school friend, the one who had left town years ago for bigger dreams in a bustling city. She had always been the adventurous type, climbing the corporate ladder, while Claire had rooted herself in their small town. "Claire." Lila's voice rang out with warmth as she approached. The two women embraced tightly, each feeling the unique blend of nostalgia and urgency in the air. "I didn't expect to see you here. Just passing through?" "Yeah, just running the café," Claire replied, a mix of excitement and anxiety washing over her. "What about you? How's it going?" "Oh, you know me, always chasing the next big project. I'm back because I'm planning an event here for a client. Something big, something like a gala." Lila's eyes sparkled with ambition. "What about you? I heard something about a festival." "Actually, we were just discussing expanding it," Claire confessed, her self-doubt creeping back as she spoke. "It's a lot to take on, especially with everything else." Lila's expression turned serious. "Listen, I know what it feels like to be overwhelmed. But this," she gestured toward the café, "the lively atmosphere and the scent of coffee filling the air, this is where you thrive, right? Lean into what you love. You need to embrace that." Claire's heart fluttered at Lila's encouragement. It was nice to hear someone voice what she was secretly hoping for, but doubt still gnawed at her insides. What if it's not good enough? What if it fails? "Failure is just the first step to figuring it out," Lila countered, leaning in closer as Tom looked on, puzzled by the intensity. "Trust me, you need to be bold. You have this vision." At that moment, Tom broke in, his natural charisma sparking. "Hi, I'm Tom," he said, extending a hand to Lila. "Claire and I were just brainstorming some exciting plans for the festival." "Lila. Great to meet you. Claire shared some of her ideas with me," she replied, her spirit infectious. "I think you two should totally go for it. With the right energy, this place could be a highlight of the summer." The way Lila spoke filled Claire with a renewed sense of possibility. She hadn't anticipated this unexpected reunion, but it felt serendipitous. As they continued to chat, Claire felt the walls of her anxiety beginning to crack. Lila's presence reminded her of who she was before the responsibilities of the café took over. "Are you up for a little adventure?" Lila suddenly asked, her eyes glinting with mischief. "Let us go check out that space across the street. I might have some ideas that could really help." "Okay, let us do it," Claire decided, emboldened by the spontaneity of the moment. As they dashed out together, Claire felt Tom's gaze following. She turned just before leaving the café, meeting his eyes for a quick second. He smiled, but behind that smile lay a twist of confusion. Could inviting Lila back into her life mean redefining who she was and what she wanted with Tom? In moments like these, clarity was often elusive. But Claire knew one thing: change was in the air, and it was electric. What would happen when they ventured across the street? Would that neglected building breathe new life into Claire's dreams or complicate her feelings for Tom even further? The weather was perfect as Claire and Lila stepped outside, the sun casting a warm glow over the bustling street. Vibrant storefronts lined the sidewalk, their bright colors a stark contrast to the gray building that loomed across the way. Claire had walked past that space countless times, scarcely giving it a glance, but now it felt different, alive with possibility. "Can you picture it?" Lila's voice broke through Claire's thoughts as they approached the building. An art gallery, a pop-up market, maybe even a small stage. It could draw in crowds from all over. Claire hesitated, doubt creeping back in. But what if no one shows up? What if we put all this effort in, and it falls flat? Lila swung her arms wide, an infectious grin spreading across her face. "That's the fun of it. If you don't put yourself out there, you'll never know what could happen." Nodding slowly, Claire felt a flicker of excitement join her anxiety. Lila's enthusiasm was contagious. She wanted to say yes, to embrace this wild idea, and let herself dream again. As they reached the entrance, Claire paused. "You really think it could work?" she asked, glancing at the dusty windows, the peeling paint hinting at the years of neglect. "Absolutely. It just needs a little love, and you're full of that. We could make it something special together." Her heart raced at the thought. The two of them teaming up felt like a blast from the past, a reminder of the spirited duo they used to be. They had tackled everything together, from school projects to summer jobs. What if this could be another adventure? Suddenly, Claire was jolted back to the cafe and Tom. He had been supportive, genuinely invested. But could she pull this off without complicating their relationship further? A lump formed in her throat. I just don't want to let anyone down, Claire admitted, vulnerability spilling out. You won tea, Lila said earnestly, placing a reassuring hand on Claire's shoulder. Think of it as discovering a new part of yourself. You owe it to yourself to try. That simple statement struck deep. What was stopping her from taking this leap? Hadn't she already been hesitant for too long? Before she could second-guess herself, Lila pushed open the door, revealing a dim, empty space that felt like a blank canvas. Dust particles danced in the sunlight filtering through the grimy windows, an untold story waiting to be painted. Claire stepped in, heart pounding, a blend of fear and exhilaration swirling in her gut. As she imagined the possibility of laughter, music, and community filling the void, she couldn't help but smile. Maybe this was the change she needed. Maybe this was the spark to ignite her passion again. Then she heard footsteps behind her. Claire turned to see Tom stepping toward them, eyebrows raised in genuine curiosity. Wow! What's going on here? Caught off guard, Claire's heart raced. Would he see this as an exciting opportunity or a reckless risk? Would this shift in her life escalate the confusion between them? The anticipation hung thick in the air, stinging with uncertainty. Tom! Claire exclaimed, emotions flooding in. We were just talking about this space, what do you think? His gaze darted between Claire and Lila, puzzled but intrigued. Looks like potential to me, he replied slowly, a hint of skepticism creeping in. But what's the plan? Before Claire could answer, Lila jumped in with excitement. We were thinking art gallery, community events, and maybe a festival kickoff. Tom's face softened as he contemplated it, but as Claire locked eyes with him, she couldn't help but feel the weight of their unspoken connection hovering between them, complicating the moment even more. Could this new venture open doors not only for her aspirations but alter her relationship with Tom in ways she wasn't prepared for? And suddenly, the thought landed. If she took this plunge, it could transform everything: the cafe, her friendship with Lila, and the bond she shared with Tom. What would she decide? The stakes had never felt so high. With Lila beside her, and Tom watching closely, Claire sensed. This was just the beginning of a journey that could change everything. How could she balance her old life, her aspirations, and the brewing feelings for Tom? Each second that passed added to the weight of her decision. The sun rose brightly the next day, illuminating the cafe with a warmth that mirrored the flame of possibilities flickering in Claire's heart. Today was the day. With her plans laid out before her, she felt a surge of empowerment built from yesterday's conversations. The support of Lila and Tom had reignited her passion, and she was ready to pull all her dreams together into something beautiful. Claire arrived at the cafe earlier than usual, the hum of the espresso machine grounding her as she prepared for the day ahead. As she wiped down tables, she couldn't shake the anticipation buzzing through her veins. She was about to reach out to the community, to make her dreams known. A festival, an art gallery, a hub for creativity, not just for her, but for everyone she cared about. Just as the door chimed with the arrival of customers, Tom walked in, his smile bright and inviting. Morning! He called, and it felt like the sun had just broken through. Hey, you! Claire replied, her heart skipping a beat. Are you ready for the big day? I've been ready since yesterday. He laughed, approaching the counter. So how do we kick this off? I can't wait to get our ideas in front of the community. Her pulse quickened as she pulled out a stack of flyers she had prepared. I want to hold a community meeting this weekend to discuss the festival. Get input from everyone. We need to emphasize bringing together all the local businesses. Everyone needs to be a part of this. I love it, Tom said, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Let us hit the pavement today and get the message out. We can start with our regulars. As they lined up the flyers, a nervous thrill pulsed through Claire. For the first time in ages, she felt uncertain yet electrified. Would people respond? Would this meeting ignite the passion she felt? When the doors flew open again, allowing a flood of regulars into the café, Claire felt the weight of their community behind her. Each friendly face greeted her warmly, and as she moved through the crowd, she found herself drawn to their conversations, eager to invite them all into her vision. There's something special brewing around here, Mr. Thompson said, raising his coffee cup in a toast. Exactly. Tom chimed in. We're planning a festival to celebrate everything this community stands for. The customers leaned in, listening intently, their eyes lighting up at the prospect. Claire began speaking, her voice steady despite the nerves fluttering in her chest. It's about connection, creativity, and showing everyone what this neighborhood can do together. The cheers and encouragement that followed filled her with hope, and Claire felt lighter, as if each word was peeling away layers of doubt. Tom stood proudly by her side, radiating support. As the day wound down, with flyers distributed throughout the cafe and promises of support from the community, Claire felt an overwhelming sense of clarity. Maybe combining her heart with her ambitions, Tom's presence and Lila's ideas might lead to a future brighter than she could have imagined. That evening, Claire gathered all her courage and sent out a message to everyone she knew in the community, inviting them to the meeting. As she lay in bed, she felt the weight of her worries dissipate. She was more than just a cafe owner, she had become a bridge between her past and her future, between love and duty, between dreams and reality. When the weekend arrived, the cafe buzzed with energy as the community gathered for the meeting. Claire stood before them, her heart racing but strong. She looked out into the sea of familiar faces, the warmth of their support washing over her. This is more than just a festival, it's about healing, she said, her voice even and steady. We're bringing our stories, our ideas, and our hopes together. Let us listen to one another and build something beautiful. As people began to share, Claire felt the connection deepen, each voice adding unique texture to her dream. That afternoon, a realization washed over her. Love was woven into the very fabric of their community and in every connection she had forged with Tom and Lila. And as the crowd buzzed with excitement, she caught Tom's eye. In that moment, everything clicked. There was no separating love from ambition, community from romance. They could coexist and flourish. The festival became a symbol, the gathering of hearts and minds, and the blossoming of a relationship with Tom that felt like home yet expanded into something exciting and new. Later that week, as Claire and Tom stood in the space across the street, filled with the laughter of children and the creativity of local artists, Claire felt her fears dissolve like the morning mist. This was their foundation, built on trust and collaboration, and love. You did this, Tom said, his eyes softening as he brushed a strand of hair away from her face. No, we did this, she responded, her heart swelling with gratitude. With the festival ahead and their plans taking shape, Claire knew, for the first time, that love really can break through walls. She took Tom's hand in hers, an affirming gesture that said she was all in, ready to weather whatever storms might come their way, and as the sun began to set, casting golden hues across the street, Claire realized that this was just the beginning of a new life, one where she, her community, and Tom would thrive together, for love does have the power to transform lives. Before the evening deepened with stars, she whispered to him, together. Always. And so it was. Each heart in the cafe, each laugh on the street, echoed the sentiment, they were all in this together. As the first festival unfolded, Claire smiled radiant, her heart at peace, knowing that this love and community were woven into her very soul. Now, what are you waiting for? Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, and comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to support us. This is the moment to show your love. Don't wait not even one more second to share.